grocery stores. So let's get started. Now, what are the needs that are driven by regulation and the government? Well, so you have the EBT and SNAP, and these things are regulated by FNS and USDA. Food Bucks and Double Up program is the one that's USDA, and age verification, lottery, ability to sell and redeem, fees and taxes, and scale certification. This right here is a list. Let me kind of dive a little bit deeper into it. EBT is a payment type that is issued, regulated, managed, and mandated by the government, right? So this is a government payment rails that is utilized to help a certain sector of consumers and a certain sector of merchants. What do I mean by that? So there could be a consumer out there who is in need of financial assistance from the government. That consumer receives a card that would be an EBT card. It's a plastic, credit card, and the government would put some funds into that card, and then the consumer is able to utilize these funds to buy groceries, produce, food-related items, right? Things that they're not allowed to buy for. It would be alcohol, tobacco, lottery. That's a good example of things that cannot be bought with that payment type. Okay. Food Bucks and Double Up program is a little bit more involved. It's a program that basically helps that consumer get twice as much produce. It helps the retailer to give more discounts to their customers with the CBT and participate in that program, and therefore bring in more foot traffic. And because the qualified produce has to be local, it also helps the farmers, right? So it's an all-around program that helps basically everybody on that supply chain, and nationwide it's called Food Bucks on Double Up. From the perspective of the point of sale, you just need to know that this needs to be handled, right? So you have to be able to provide, to recognize that, a consumer is coming in and qualifies for Food Bucks or Double Up program, and necessary action needs to be taken, whether it's a coupon or a discount or a rebate, what have you. Age verification is probably straightforward, right? So there is a federal government that mandates that customers that buy alcohol, tobacco, lottery be age verified, right? So pretty simple stuff there. Lottery. So if a grocery store also is a convenience store, also sells and redeems lottery, well, then you need to be able to keep track of what you're redeeming, right? At the very least, as a merchant, that would be your, the need for you to handle. Fees and taxes. Everybody's heard about the fees, and fees are pretty major right now because retailers are hurting and they're looking for ways to pass on fees to customers. And as they are coming up with more and more ways of issuing fees, whatever those fees may be, concert night fee, waiter service fee, whatever travel fee, whatever the fee merchants invent, certain states or cities or counties are mandating that those fees be taxed or specifically not be taxed. So there's regulation involved with fees. And then if a merchant, well, not if, but a grocery store merchant also has to have scale, right? That scale, first of all, needs to be NTEP certified, and then the city needs to come in and evaluate it and make sure that it's properly calibrated and put their seal of approval, for a year or so. And so these are the needs that are driven by regulation and the government. And let me kind of just right away point out that I'm not saying all the needs for all the grocery stores, we obviously are focusing only on the Clover point of sale. And from that perspective, when you're trying to push, let's say you're pushing a Clover into a grocery store, whatever the vertical it may be, you have to be mindful of these things in the sense that a merchant is dealing with EBT items and also non-EBT items. And keeping them separate is extremely important to that merchant because these government entities say so. Age verifying and being able to prove that you have age verified is also extremely important to that merchant. And if you as an agent are not covering these bases to a merchant, you're not telling them, oh, we have a solution for this, we have a solution for that, we know that you need to deal with this and this, or at least you're not talking these pain points to a merchant, you're not going to close a deal because solution selling requires that you know what you're talking about. So this is what you talk about. And these are the things that are driven by the government.